Many of you probably saw a video of Ben Simmons dunking like he was in the dunk competition, which had people asking, he looks pretty healthy. Landing on his foot like that, why isn't he playing? Also, Joel Embiid had surgery last week. Some people think minor. Is surgery ever minor? Isn't it the same surgery that one Jaleel Okafor had? As questions continue to remain about the status of his knee. Keith Pompey wrote about that at Philly.com. And he joins us now with a look at this Sixers team playing out the stretch. Yet again, Keith, welcome back, pal. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Everything's good, man. And for a team that had some good vibes in January, February was kind of blah. March has turned into, like, conspiracy theories here. You got this video of Ben Simmons dunking. I can't imagine the Sixers were thrilled to see that thing posted.
I really don't know if they were or not, just because, I mean, it's not the first time he's dunked. And also, the one thing I will say that, when the Sixers came out with his foot injury, like if you gave him a regular X-ray, everything looked healed. But then when they did the scan and the MRI, it's kind of sort of like it said that the inside of a lower portion of his bone is what was cracked a little bit. So his not playing was basically one of those things. They didn't want him to refracture the foot like Kevin Durant did. And, and I hate to say it, like, this kid really wants to play. You know what I mean? You respect that. And he's out there, and sometimes he just does certain things. Now, if you're the Sixers, you may, some people may argue they should say, what are you doing? But if you're the kid, you want to play, and there's people always looking at you, always looking at him in pregame. Sometimes he wants to put on a show. I don't really have a problem with it. I don't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have a problem. It's encouraging, right? It should be encouraging to say, look, he has enough confidence in landing on that foot that he feels like he can do this. We had Mark Jackson on who said he had the same injury, and that basically your foot feels fine and you can do everything, and then it just – so he actually applauds the Sixers for taking a different approach in that, hey, your foot's telling you you're okay, but the percentage chance of re-breaking is so high that he applauds them for taking a different methods that even though it feels okay, that it's probably not ready.
Yeah, exactly. And I wrote that soon when it was announced that when sources said that this guy had a Jones fracture. I mean, it's one of those things where, I know a lot of people, believe me, like this summer, I kept saying to myself, wow, I can't wait to see this guy on the court. I want to see what he can do in a big game. I really do. I really do. I really do. And then you look at the grand scheme of things, it's like this team is still not ready to contend for a championship. This team is still not ready, no matter what people think, to go at least a couple rounds in the playoffs. So if you want to make sure that this guy is healthy, then shut him down. You just shut him down. And the thing is, it's kind of like, you have a lot of fans saying, whoa, look what he did, look what they did, he should be playing. But then if he's out here and he gets injured, and then the next thing they're going to say is, there goes another one. Look at the medical staff. Let's get rid of these people. That Brian Colangelo doesn't know what he's doing. So, this guy is supposed to be a franchise player. I mean, let's just get over this season. I mean, it's only 9 games left.
Yeah. Keith Pompey, Inquirer, with us here, Philadelphia Inquirer, Philly.com. Just real quick on Simmons. Take us back to what stood out about what you saw from him in the few times we saw him in Summer League. Like, some people would say, well, he's never seen him in an NBA game. Why are people so confident? And I would say the few times I saw him play in Summer League, he was like so far and above better than everybody else on the court. Like, it was like you could see the number one pick play in other Summer Leagues. He didn't seem to stand out as much as Simmons, like, just completely dominated in the time he was out there.
Well, the thing is, okay, so you look at Lorenzo Ball, and you see him get the ball, you see him go out there in transition, and just like, he's like super fast. He throws the great passes. That's Ben Simmons at 6'10". Now, again, he doesn't have the shooting. He's not. He doesn't have the offensive scoring skills as Ball does. But when you see Ball get the ball and get it in transition, it's kind of like that's Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons may even be a little quicker than him because he's huge, man. I'm telling you. Like, you look at him and you look like before they played Dallas, before the game, he was standing there talking to Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel is 6'11". Ben 6'10". He's right there with him.
Right.
You're saying that this guy's a center and this guy's a point guard, and he weighs more than Nerlens Noel. He's bigger than Nerlens Noel. So when you see that coming at you, it's crazy. And, like, the thing is, he would grab a defensive rebound. I mean, one play stuck out really, it's still in my mind. He grabs a defensive rebound. He basically takes, like, 3 steps, and he's at the half-court thing. And it might have been a little bit more, maybe 5. You know how you revisionist history?
Sure.
But anyway, he goes to half-court, and he delivers a bounce pass to Timothy Luwalu. And everyone was like, wow. And you're looking at, like, NBA executives, like, shaking their heads. So he brings that to the table. And once he becomes a better shooter, he learns how to, get there. This guy is going to be, phenomenal. Just that right now he's a lot of excitement, but he just needs to work on, the shooting fundamentals. But I'm telling you, he's going to be special.
Yeah, I guess the one question, and I agree with you, but I guess just to play devil's advocate and ask this question, in today's NBA, does he not have to develop some more consistent jumper, or can he get by based on his current skill set?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to develop it. I mean, the thing about it is, that's when it comes down to the person. Everyone comes here. Now, we got to realize these guys are young. They're straight out of high school. At 6'10", doing the things that he did at high school, he didn't have to learn how to shoot. You know what I mean?
Right,
he
right.
just did that. I mean, he just was the man. You look at Russell Westbrook today. When Russell Westbrook was at UCLA, a lot of people was like, "Oh, he's crazy. Why is he coming out? He can't shoot. He can't do this. He can't do that." But Russell Westbrook was a hard worker, and now he's what? He's probably one of the front runners for league MVP. So it's one of those things where when you look at Ben Simmons, you can't look at his weaknesses now. You just have to project. And then one thing the Sixers did do, he really didn't get to work with him as much as he would have liked. But they hired a shooting coach. Once they figured out that was going to be the guy they were going to draft, they went out there and hired a shooting coach. And whenever you see them in the gym before games or after shoot-arounds, Ben Simmons is working with this coach.
A lot of people are excited for Ben Simmons. How about you mentioned Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot, second-round pick, not a second, late first-round pick. A lot of people didn't really know much about him. And all of a sudden they make they clear out Hollis Thompson. Now they got some more minutes. All of a sudden, is he becoming way more than they anticipated?
I think they're still trying to figure that out. It's one of those things where, they won't come out and tell you this, but, they're playing him for a reason, to see what he can do,
right?
Long term, because, let's face it, they're going to have to make some decisions. And I'm not saying they're going to get rid of him, but, they don't know, where they're going to select in the draft right now. So like if Timothy continues, to excel, they may not go after somebody else at that position. Talking about like, a 2 or a 3. But, you have to – it's funny because, initially when he first started, he looked lost. Like he was a guy who, the speed of the game might have been a little bit too fast for him. He was always out of position defensively. And, he has his ups and downs now, but there's been several games where he really played well. So, I think that his biggest leap is going to be over the summer. Now, let's not get it twisted. he's not going to be the superstar. Like, he's not on the same caliber of a Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid. What he'll be like, he could be a rotation guy. He could be a starter, but he's not going to be the guy at the end of the game. We're going to be drawing up plays for Timothy Luwalu to take, Jimmy Butler off the dribble. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
no, but I'm intrigued by his defense more than anything. Forget what he's doing offensively and where that game is. It seems like he can go at you on the perimeter.
Yeah, he can. He's long. He's athletic. I mean, like, he tells me that he's 6'7". He says, I'm like, damn. He's like, yeah, Keith, I'm 6'7". They had me listed as 6'6". But he is. I mean, he's tall. Like, you look at him, next to a Robert Covington. I mean, you can't really tell the difference as far as height-wise. But, yeah, he's long, he's athletic, and he's young. He's only going to get better.
My driver's license says I'm 5'8", but that's not really the case. Sports Match Live with Keith Pompey. All right, you wrote about Jahlil Okafor at Philly.com and in the Inquirer. I've been talking about this a lot. I think it's odd that this is meniscus surgery that Okafor had. And that's not supposed to be something that he missed basically the final month of last year and then was on a minute restriction, and he still doesn't seem to be the same guy. Does that concern you with Embiid's injury, and what's up with Okafor's injury?
Well, I think I'm not going to lump the two together just because, different people, I mean, they're two different situations, and I don't even think the same doctor operated on them. And I'm not saying that the doctor messed it up or anything like that, but it was completely different doctors. I don't know. I mean, that's the $1 million question. The thing about it is he has been having knee soreness, off and on since he became a Sixer. I remember, like, in the beginning of training camp, his rookie year, he had some problems with certain things. And then, whenever you talk to him, he's always saying that, it's one of these things where the team is just being cautious. There's nothing wrong with my knee. But then when you factor in that there are 9 games that we know about that he missed because of his knee, it has to be a concern. It has to be some questions. And the reason why I said 9 games that we know about, because there were other games that he just didn't play, and it was because of, one of them was he had a stomach flu. That they say a couple other games it was because, Nerlens Noel and Joel Embiid were the first and second string center, so he didn't get any play.
Right.
So, it could be one of those games. We don't know. His knee could have been acting up on that one as well. So it's one of those things where, that's the $1 million question. But me personally, I understand his trade stock and all that stuff, but if there's only 9 games left, and if he missed the last 2, and, you got Tiago Splitter coming back, he rejoined the team. He probably will play in the coming days. I don't think you should play him. You know what I mean? If it's sore right now, there's no need to make it get worse than what it is.
Yeah, and I agree with you that the two shouldn't, be intertwined. But with Joel, did they ever, do you think, intend to use him in Summer League? Or, like, would you risk playing Joel Embiid in Summer League? Like, do you need to see him play in the Summer League to feel like that he's ready to go for the 17-18 season?
I don't, because the problem is, the thing is, he's going to be a guy, and first of all, we don't know how long the rehab is going to take. It's all like step by step. But, he's a guy we all know what he can do, when he's on the floor, when he's healthy. Summer League is kind of like, you got a lot of guys trying to get into the league, make it into the league, and they're going to do some things, and it could be another thing like, where Ben Simmons stepped on a teammate's foot and was done. I mean, it's just, I don't think that you want him, a high-caliber athlete, playing with a lot of guys, about to cut their mom's, wrist to make the league. You don't want to put them in that situation. So I wouldn't play him at all.
Keith Pompey's with us here. Last thing to look at here, 9 games left. Dario Saric has been probably the best player on the floor for the team consistently the whole second half of the year here. What has his game evolved into you moving forward in terms of where he kind of ranks in the pecking order of this roster?
I mean, I still think he's number 3. I think it's Embiid. I think it's Ben Simmons number 2, and I think is Dario. After that. Now if they go out there, let's just say if they so happen to luck up and get the first pick, I think Monk will be number 3. You know what I mean? So it just depends on where the Sixers go. Now the one thing is that he's doing is he's making it hard for him. Because the thing is, Ben Simmons, when he first came, he was going to be a point forward. Then they said he's going to be a point guard. And the way that Dario is playing is kind of sort of you're saying to yourself, if I'm the Sixers, I hope and pray this Ben Simmons, that point guard thing really works out.
Yeah.
Because Dario is bringing so much at the power forward spot that, I really don't want to bring him off the bench. I really don't. So, he's turned to be a very, viable player. And it's funny, last night, the Indiana Pacers game plan was to disrupt him, to double team him. It's like people are disguising plans just to stop Dario Saric.
If he is your third best player, 3 years from now, is that a guy like you need 3 stars? Does he qualify?
You know what? I think he will. I mean, see, the thing about him is, you know what? Why not? I mean, because he's the type of guy that if you look at him, people always say, well, he can't do this, he can't do that, he can't do this. Well, he had 32 points against the Chicago Bulls. He scored 13 points in the fourth quarter. He can. I mean, the only thing is it's just a matter of, right. I think you just have to make sure that he and Ben Simmons can play together. If they can't really play together, then, he's going to have to come off the bench. But I think that he's proven that he's a starter in this league.
All right, Keith Pompey, Philly.com. The Sixers tomorrow night in Brooklyn, where all these games, it's do you want to win? Do you want to lose? We'll see. 9 games left. They're 5 up on the team in front of them. I guess it doesn't matter at this point. Just keep winning if you can. Keith, appreciate it. Running out the string of the season here. Should be an interesting offseason.
Yeah, it should be. That's when the real season starts.
Always. Seems like always here in Philly. Thanks, pal. Keith Pompey, Philly.com. The Inquirer, as he said, always interesting with the offseason.